Morning everyone, welcome back to the shed on what looks to be a very nice spring-ish morning today. Nice blue sky. I'm just about to paint my P51 Mustang. It's the third Mustang that I've built this year. I've decided to build a P51B, so I thought that whilst I was building and painting that, I'd show you a nice simple little technique that I use on models such as this to try and accentuate some of the detail within cockpits on undercarriage legs and all of that kind of thing. This is a very easy idea. It was first shown to me by Roy Sutherland, who'd used it on some of his builds, and I thought I'd give it a go. It's completely inert, almost fail-safe, and uses only 3 materials. Those materials are this, Johnsons Klear. Okay, many of you will have bottles of this lying around. That's the first one, water, and finally some Tamiya paint. Now I've got a bottle of matte black here, but for this technique you can actually use a whole range of different colours. The reason I'm using matte black is because the parts that I'm going to accentuate, and I'll show you on the movie, are metal. So I like the contrast between the black and the metal finish. I'm also going to be using this inside the cockpit, which is painted in interior green. But you can use darker colours over the top of your base shades. So for instance, if you had a pale grey cockpit, you could accentuate it with dark grey. If you had a pale green with dark green, all of those kind of things, you could sort of mix and match those colours. It doesn't have to be black. I'm just using black in this case because it provides me with a nice contrast to the colours that I've used. So that's it. It's really, really simple. It'll take about 2 seconds for me to show you how to do this, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you find it useful on some of the models that you maybe build over the coming months. So let's take a look at how this works in action. Okay, in these 2 plastic shot glasses here we've got Johnsons Klear and water. It's about the same amount in each of these glasses, and then we've got some Tamiya flat black here. So all you do is you take one, pour it into the other, and then I use a cotton bud, mix it together, and then using the same cotton bud, take some of the black out of the Tamiya bottle, and then mix it in to the solution that you've got from the water and the clear. So you can get, it's a very thin kind of mix, I guess. So taking another little bit of paint, go back in until you get a reasonably dark colour. This is a very, very thin solution. So there we are, as you can see, very thin. It's water thin. Okay, so then I've got some parts mounted on a piece of plastic card here. So I simply take this flat brush, dip it into the solution, and then paint it over the top of the pieces, of the individual pieces. Now, because there's alcohol in this, there's no surface tension on the water, so it flows perfectly around all of the details. You can see, absolutely seamless. It just flows beautifully around everything. Put that to one side. With the wheels, I'm going to add a little bit more paint to this solution. In fact, I'm going to pour some into here so that I've got 2 different densities of colour. This one's slightly darker, and then do the same thing, go into the wheels. The solution flows perfectly around all of the HUD detail. Just leave it flat for it to settle. This is the tail wheel here, so once again just flow the paint around it. When you put the solution on like this, it will look like you've got far too much on, but as the water evaporates and the paint and the clear dry out, it settles properly, so you'll see a much more subtle effect than you do. If you need to remove any solution. If you feel it's too heavy, just put the brush against the part and it will wick some of that solution away. Again, put it down on the surface. Now this is the interior here. I've just painted this in a base green colour. I haven't highlighted it or anything like that. It's just a nice kind of simple finish. So once again, go into this, paint this solution over the surface detail. When it first goes on, you will be able to see some slight brush marks, but ignore those because as it dries they will disappear. So wick some bubbles away. Again, just leave it flat so that it dries out. Back into the solution, and once again just paint it over the top of the detail. This is one of those techniques where the quicker you are, the better it'll be. Don't hang about and try and put a perfect layer on. Just get the colour into place and let it do its own thing. Seat. In actual fact, I'll move these out of the way, and I'll do the seat. With cockpits, it's often better to have detail defined in a more definite way than you would on the rest of the model, because usually they're quite cramped spaces and they're quite dark. So if you can define them with darker layers of colour, then that tends to pop everything out and you can see those within the often pretty tiny spaces that model cockpits tend to occupy. This is the main cockpit floor and bulkhead assembly. You see how easy that goes on. Really, really simple. Now this solution will dry with a slightly glossy finish, so you will find that you'll need to overspray it with matte varnish, but that's no great hassle. Once it's dry, it will take that varnish, no problem at all. So there we go, nice and easy. And you see how quick that is. I've pretty much done most of the internal sections in only a few minutes. This is the radiator. So again, put some of the solution onto the fin detail inside there. And also this dries really quickly, so if you find that you need to define the detail more than you have, you just put another layer on and then just let that dry out. I'm happy with the way that this looks at the moment. It's quite soft and quite subtle, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to do too much on that. And the final pieces to do are just the main undercarriage legs. The wash working particularly well over the metal finish that I've put on here. Incidentally, these parts were sprayed with super metallics from Gunsanyo. They're Mr. Colour super metallics. This one here is I think it's called shiny aluminium or shiny silver, I think it might be called. But this is certainly a really nice finish to put onto a model like this. And then once you put a layer of this wash onto there, it creates a beautifully realistic metal surface. Now all you need to do is put the paintbrushes to one side and then walk away from this and leave it for around half an hour to dry out. So that's it. Nice simple technique for you to perhaps have a go at, should you choose to do so. It's completely inert. It's one of those ideas and one of those techniques that's perfect for beginners who are looking for something to help them develop their skills a little bit, but are maybe concerned that if they try one material over the top of another it will unsettle what's underneath. This won't. It's completely safe to use irrespective of what your base coats are, because essentially it's just a watery solution. It isn't going to damage anything underneath. I've shown you some photographs on here as well of the way that the model looks at the moment. That's before I've started to detail paint it, and also before I've added any matte varnish. But I've also put some photographs on here as well of earlier P51 that I finished using this technique, so you can see the cockpit parts and also the undercarriage parts on the finished model, to give you an idea of what it looks like in a proper project, if you like, rather than one that I'm currently working on. I hope you like this. I hope it's useful, and I hope that you maybe try it out and see if it works within your own technique bank. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye.